Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. We're back again with you guys for another episode of our tactical breakdown series in which we look at the players that Arsenal should, could, maybe will, and now players that Arsenal already have on their books but are yet to really see them develop and play in the first team. As I take a look at a player who's already on Arsenal's books and has been going out on loan for Arsenal, a very young player that I'm very excited about and have been backing for the last couple of months or so to really try and push his way into the Arsenal first team. Now, I know what's going to happen in the comments. Yes, you can notice I have had a bit of a trim. So plenty of 12-year-old face comments are going to be coming in, I'm sure. But speaking of comments, please like, subscribe, and leave your comment in the description if you're enjoying the videos. The comments still are really, really positive, and I really appreciate it. We're already on our way to 11,000 subscribers. We're past that halfway mark, which is absolutely great. And this player has actually been requested still by people saying that I should be looking at some of the youngsters that are going to be moving into the Arsenal first team next season. The likes of Reiss Nelson, the likes of Saka, and of course the guy we're going to be looking at today, Krystian Bielik. Now, Krystian Bielik is a really intriguing player to look at, one because I know a lot about him from his time at Charlton on loan this season. I was at the playoff final, as you can see there, in which Bielik put across one of the best playoff final performances of a player I've ever seen in my time of watching those fixtures. And that really sort of inspired me to look more in depth about his game. My other half is a Charlton fan, and she's been raving about him all season. And so obviously I had to take a look at him. And taking a look at him has revealed a lot to me about the poll and telling me what he's really good at, what he needs to improve at. But it is really, really good news. We seemingly have a player on our hands of real top quality. The only worry is that we shun that quality and we don't integrate it into our team. Because what I'm going to do for you today in the video is show you how he compares up against some Arsenal first teamers. Now, he is, as you can see from the heat map on the screen, he plays in multiple positions at the back. He can play at defensive midfielder, which he did for most of the season, playing 25 games at defensive midfield, but he also played 9 games at centre-back as well this season. Versatile in that defensive aspect. We need defensive reinforcements. We need the depth. I personally feel the likes of Mavropanos need to go out on loan to get some more experience like Bielik did last season. We need to see Koscielny probably sold, which is going to leave us light, and we're probably going to be bringing in someone in that department, but we need backup, not only in the centre-back area, but definitely in that deep line midfield to provide us a little bit more rough and readiness. And Bielik, being the tall height that he is and the physicality that he's developed and brought to his game, would hugely benefit the Arsenal team. Now, I'm going to compare him to 2 Arsenal first team, as I said. The first one being one which is a centre-back, and one which, when you think about the setup, you think Socrates is fairly safe. We're not sure who we're going to bring in, so the next person you would assume starting next to him would be fit would either be Rob Holding, but he's of course injured and still very young. But I want to look at more of an established player, and he's been a bit, let's say, fair to say, criticised by myself and a lot of people, but Shkodran Mustafi. And I wanted to see how he fares up against Shkodran Mustafi. And secondly, I want to have a look at how he compares to our deep line midfielder at the moment, being Lucas Torreira, and the fantasticness that he's had this season. So to compare it to 2 different players in 2 different positions in which he can play, I thought would be beneficial for you guys to see how good he is. And the stats, I tell you, will surprise you. So let's get straight into the video and look in depth at what we're talking about with Krystian Bielik. So we start off with Jules, as you would expect, in the defensive side of the field. When he gets into those challenges, does he win them? How does he stack up against Mustafi and Torreira? I can tell you that he wins 28, he's involved in 28 duels in each match, winning 46% of those, which is a lot more than what Torreira and Mustafi do. They are respectively involved in 17 and 16 duels per game. Torreira winning 41% of those, so 5% less than Bielik. And Mustafi winning 49%, which you would expect more from a more natural centre-half. Interceptions, it's still really, really good looking for Bielik. He intercepts the ball 8.92 times per game, as you can see on the screen there. Torreira, playing a defensive midfield position, also winning the ball 5.16 times per game. And Mustafi, 6.12. So hugely out and in front. I mean, you look at what he's doing there. You look at how he reads the game. He knows where the ball's going to be played. He's really good at reading it and intercepting passes, getting through, cutting the passing lanes and reading the game really, really well. We need someone who's going to bring that stability and able to turn the ball over as quickly as possible. Not only that, but you need to look at recoveries and how many times the ball is recovered by them. And recoveries in terms of Bielik, he recovers the ball 16.74 times each game, with 27% of those in the opposition half. That compares to Torreira's 9.12 with 41% in the opposition half, and Mustafi's 11 times with 15% in the opposition half. So he's nearly double the amount of recoveries than Torreira makes. And of course, we have to talk about the caveat that he has been playing in League One this season. But these are statistics. They're not goals and assists. They're the amount of times he goes into challenges with players and he wins the ball. It's the amount of times he reads the passes. Yes, possibly passes that have got less quality, but he still has to be involved in those situations. He still reads the game extremely well. So well that at the moment it's stacking up better than the likes of Torreira and Mustafi. But you need to be able to do something on the ball, especially as a defensive midfielder. You need to be able to drive out of the defence and make the most of that. And Bielik certainly does that with 2.36 dribbles made each match, with an 84.8% success rate of those dribbles. Really fantastic record. You compare that to Torreira, 1.6 dribbles per game, 74% success rate. Mustafi, 0.7, as you'd expect from a centre-back, 71% success rate. Again, Bielik coming out on top in terms of his dribbling as well. Really positive to see. Passes, we've got what you can see on the screen there is one of the few assists that he got in the season. He only got 2, but he's finding that ball in behind. But his passing, 41% success. 41 passes played per game, nearly 42, with an 83% success rate. Torreira, 51. You'd expect Arsenal, Premier League, a lot more of a passing side. Torreira, 51 passes per game with an 89% success rate, much better passing-wise. And Mustafi, 50 passes per game, 86.5% success rate. So Torreira and Mustafi definitely come out on top in terms of passing. That is a lot down to the fact that Bielik is still only 21 years old. He's very, very young, and he is going to improve in his passing. If he was playing in the first team of Arsenal, that passing and that coaching would definitely improve, and hopefully you would see him break into nearly the high 80s. But he's on at 83.7%, which isn't too bad, especially for a player in his position in defensive midfield when he's trying to move the ball up the pitch. That is a decent percentage. Still not the height of Torreira and Mustafi, but positive all the same. So long passing wise, you need to be able to spray the ball out. You need to be able to find balls in behind, and Bielik does do this. 4.53 long passes per game with a 60% success rate. Torreira, less than that, 2.69 with a 63% success rate. And that's probably down to the fact that Emery employs more of a system where the deep line midfielder does more technical short passing. And Mustafi does more long passes per game than Bielik does with 6.25, but with a lower success rate of 51.6. The amount of times I get frustrated with Mustafi playing the ball in behind for absolutely no reason, because there's no one there and it never goes to anyone, is extremely frustrating. So that sort of summarises the position that we're at with Krystian Bielik and how he stacks up against two of our main players that have played last season. And it's fair to say he does extremely well with his stats matching up. Again, there is the caveat. Yes, I know he plays in a lower league and lower quality, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And what he is showing on the pitch is really, really positive. I like how physical he is. I like his tenacity. I like the way he wants to go and win the ball back as much as possible. And his desire to play first team football is there for all to see. And that's the danger, is that we might let this Polish absolute legend of a player at such a young age, and I seem to be hyping up more than maybe he is, but he's an absolutely brilliant player at his age, and I don't think we should be letting him slip through the net and leaving to be sold for what would be, as we know that Arsenal are, an extremely low fee, when we know that we can develop this guy and turn him into a really, really strong player. He's easily be getting into mid-table Premier League teams for next season. He should be getting linked to different clubs around, not just England, but Europe. And I think that if we can keep hold of this guy, he can really develop into a great player. What was the point in spending those millions of pounds on him if we weren't going to use him, if we weren't going to see him develop? And we saw him develop last season at Charlton. We've seen the progression of his game, and we can see that we have got a player here on our hands that can do us a job next year. Do I think that's all we need in that position in terms of backup? Of course not. I do think we need to bring in a centre midfielder, and that's why we're getting linked with the likes of Dennis Praet, for instance. But we need to bring this guy and push our youth into the first team so we can keep hold of them moving forward. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope that you've enjoyed us going down a different sort of angle with this and looking at someone who's obviously coming through the youth ranks. If you have, please like and subscribe. Leave those comments in the comment section below. What do you think of Bielik? Do you think we should look into integrate him, or do you think we should try and make some money off him? Or do you think that I'm overrating him massively and maybe he's not actually worthy of a starting berth yet or a squad berth at Arsenal? If so, please tell me in the comments and let me know who you think I should be looking at next. Don't worry, the likes of Reece Nelson and Saka are in the pipeline. But I want to obviously keep up with the transfer updates and bring in some knowledge about some new players as we go through. But if you've enjoyed the video, as I said, please like and subscribe. I'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.